It looked impossible to get to where I wanted to be. You're on the world stage and you just want to do a run you're proud of. When things become challenging, that's when you'll rise to it. I grew up in Sheffield, always been into sport, always been active. I got taken to a club called Sheffield Ski Club by my dad when I was about 11. That was the moment when I first sort of set foot at the Sheffield Ski Village. I saw some of the guys there sending tricks in a half pipe, a little dry slope jump. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, well, I think I'm going to get involved. It'd just be all people that were skiers or snowboarders, just there learning tricks and just riding together. Back then, it was really the centre of what was going on in the UK. There's so many good skiers that come out of Sheffield. It was a whole thriving scene, and that was my experience for years through my teens, just getting involved and enjoying it really with loads of mates.
Oh, good to see you.
Day one at the ski village at Sharks, which Rob, you were there as part of as well, and Joe. And you were like, right, come on a Saturday afternoon, that's when it goes down, that's when the freestyle is. And this one I didn't really know what was what.
Oh, you used to snowboard at first?
Did a bit of both, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Started off with snowboarding a little bit.
You used to be big into quarterpipe though, didn't you?
And half-pipe.
This is the first half-pipe that I ever rode, where I learned my trade, I guess. You get about 3 hits from memory, I think. And yeah, I learned a lot of the basics in here. I was learning the fundamentals without even realising I was learning them. And it's ahead of its time, really, because to have a half-pipe built in I think it was the late 90s, it was like, the sport's young at that time. But it used to go off, people were sending it and just lapping all night.
It's a shame that it had to go, because there's nothing really I can compare to the ski village.
Served its purpose at that time for so many people, and these things come and go and it should just be celebrated rather than feeling sad. It was just an amazing starting point. If it wasn't for this place and all the things I learned here, I definitely wouldn't have gone on into freestyle skiing. In my teens, I was never one of the obvious choices for being someone that might go on and be quite competitive later on. I was just in the mix of my age group, just enjoying it. It was really 17, I went to did the European Open and did very average, in the half pipe. And it was at that point, I was right at the bottom. It was not even an Olympic sport. So the Olympics was something which had never even entered my mind in my teenage years. It was something which not many people in the sport really had a vision for. It got announced for 2014. And then at that point, it was like, oh, well now the Olympics is part of our sport, and that's something which is attainable. Sochi was always going to be a close one for me. I was just starting to get somewhere. In 2013, I ended up having this landmark year where loads of things just started to get together, and I just started learning tricks really sort of quickly, and I was getting stronger, I was getting a little bit older. I found myself in my first world champs. It all probably in retrospect went a little bit too quick, putting a lot of effort in building everything up to where I wanted to be, and then I ended with a broken collarbone a couple of months before the games. It was very tough. In retrospect, I learned a lot. That was a moment where it could have been actually, let's just sack this off. I've given it a shot, I've had my taste, I've done all right. Could have been the moment where I just called it. It looked kind of impossible to get to where I wanted to be, and that was where I was like, this is going to take everything. I had to make that decision. Was I going to take on this now even bigger sort of challenge? Pyeongchang, I think, was when I first missed out on Sochi. After resetting and taking a step back, I was like, that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to get myself back in the game, to get myself competitive, and then get to a level which I'd previously not been at before, and first of all get myself fit. So it's 2015 where I made the decision that I was going to do it, that I was going to take on the challenge again. The fear in freestyle skiing is an aspect. Anyone that tells you that they haven't got the fear is either 16 or lying. Fear is something of injury that was definitely there for me. There's pressures involved in our sport. There's intensities. There's, you know, you've got to be fit and strong enough to go a year of taking falls, of being able to rock up to every World Cup in any condition and send it. And people get injured, people get hurt. That was me the first time around. Before Pyeongchang, I did loads of World Cups, loads of comps. I've always been good at pulling my run out the bag if needed. I think there's only been 1 or 2 comps where I've ever fallen twice. I got a 4th in a World Cup. That just seemed impossible when I was like 17 to be riding at that level and doing tricks. I've already exceeded what I thought I could do coming from a dry slope in the UK. So now I was like, right, it's on, let's just give it our all now. Opening ceremony, I was walking out with 6 or 7 people that I've skied with since I was 12, 13 years old, and we've all learned on dry slope. First run, I definitely felt the nerves and ended up blowing out on a left 9, which is like one of my easiest tricks. You feel like you're prepared, but then when you step out into the start gate, I think it's impossible to fully prepare. So I was like, let's just go out second run, enjoy it, try and do your best.
Pete Speight learned on the dry ski slope of the Sheffield Ski Village in South Yorkshire, England. Now here he is on the world's biggest stage, competing for his country at the Winter Olympic Games in South Korea. He's come a long way and battled through injury to be here.
After the run, let's just enjoy this. I'm in South Korea now. My family's here, a lot of my mates are here. I've just been on a stage I never thought I'd be on, so just enjoyed it. And it was wicked for that final week, really wicked. For me, following my own path has managed to get me to here, and I think if I hadn't have stuck true to how I wanted to do it, then I probably wouldn't have. If it wasn't for this place and all the things I learned here and the starting point for me, I definitely wouldn't have gone on into freestyle skiing and definitely wouldn't have been, you know, at the start gate in South Korea.